And today, in the most spectacular embarrassment imaginable, it blew up in their faces. You see the special counsel, Republican appointee, leading the case against Hunter Biden, who was appointed by Donald Trump, now says that that guy, this informant they hung their entire claim on about the bribe, he lied. Their infamous FBI informant is being federally, criminally charged for making it all up.
Hey everyone, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and welcome back to What Was That? James Comr has made it his personal mission to impeach Joe Biden and expose how corrupt the Biden family is. However, they've done nothing wrong, and Comr keeps looking like a fool, from whistleblowers being foreign agents to never showing evidence to now finding out that their informant lied to the FBI. He just can't stop stepping on rakes. Look, I don't know if James Comr is a masochist or just an idiot, but he keeps setting himself up for failure when it comes to his unhealthy obsession with the Biden family. James Comr, much like Humpty Dumpty, has taken a great fall, and MAGA's not going to be able to put him back together again. Comr has made himself look like a complete and utter fool, especially after he and Jim Jordan have gone on countless interviews saying that they had a smoking gun.
Newsflash.
They didn't. Now, keep in mind that in May 2023, Comr was on Newsmax and was asked how legit the Form 1023 document was, and this is how he responded.
Last week, the big story, the Oversight Committee sending a subpoena to the DOJ, the FBI, for a document that asserts basically that Joe Biden, as vice president, was trying to essentially shake down a foreign national in exchange for key foreign policy decisions. My question, how sure are you that that document is legit? How sure are you that it's the real deal?
Well, I'm very sure that that is a legitimate document.
Very sure, like 100% certain?
Well, you're pretty close to 100%.
He was pretty sure, like almost 100% sure, guys. I mean, that should count, right? And if not, here's to hoping.
Yes or no? Do you believe that this is now officially the Joe Biden bribery allegation? And do you believe that you will be able to prove that? Jim Comr.
I sure hope so.
This whole thing would be hilarious if it wasn't so sad knowing that Jordan and Comr run the Oversight Committee. And if we fast forward to now, we find out that the DOJ has charged Alexander Smirnov, the informant who provided derogatory information about Hunter and Joe Biden, with false statements and obstruction.
A former FBI informant has been charged for lying about President Biden and Biden's son Hunter and their involvement in business dealings with the Ukrainian energy company Burisma. Now, the reason why this is significant is that this individual and his testimony was a major aspect of the claims by Republicans that President Biden himself had benefited from his son's business operations.
So now that Smirnov has been charged with false claims, there are two possibilities. Either James Comr never did any research to vet Smirnov and his accusations, or Comr knew this whole time that Smirnov was lying, and he still tried to impeach President Biden over nothing. I don't know which is worse, but in either scenario, he truly earns the nickname Comr Pile. And when you look back at the interviews that Comr has done, there is a consistent theme. He says a bunch of gibberish, and then when he's asked to provide evidence, he makes up excuses to avoid showing it. Call it a hunch, but this would lead me to believe that Comr knew that Smirnov was lying. Here's Comr back in November 2022.
We find evidence that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden were involved in a scheme to try to get China to buy liquefied natural gas, and from a whistleblower.
Despite the fact that Comr never had any evidence, he continued to accuse Biden of peddling influence. In April 2023, he went on Fox and Friends to talk about the investigation.
Have you found have you found evidence that anybody broke any laws?
Well, if the president was involved in this, obviously he would have broken many laws, because we don't believe that China would have paid the Biden family millions and millions of dollars for nothing. We believe that China was more than likely getting something in return. The same could be said for Ukraine with Burisma. The same could be said for some of these shady characters they were dealing with in Russia. So what we're trying to determine is if, in fact, Joe Biden made policy decisions and did things that were not in the best interest of the American people in order to enrich his family, then those are laws that are certainly broken.
Did you notice how Comr answered Ducey's question with if? If the president was involved, if Joe Biden made decisions, if. It's all because the GOP has been on a fishing expedition without any evidence to justify an investigation. And then 1 month later, Comr went back onto Fox and Friends and got called out by Steve Ducey for not having any actual evidence.
And your party, the Republican investigators, say that that's proof of influence peddling by Hunter and James. But that's just your suggestion. You don't actually have any facts to that point. You've got some circumstantial evidence. And the other thing is, of all those names, the one person who didn't profit is there's no evidence that Joe Biden did anything illegally.
Well, if you look at the laptop and the emails between the president's son and his associates.
These would be the same associates who told Comr, Jordan, and the rest of the GOP that President Biden was not involved in any business dealings with his son, Hunter Biden. And at the time of this interview, anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together could tell you that there was nothing there to prove that Biden or his family was doing anything illegal. We also have to remember that between these 2 dates of April and May of 2023, Fox News had settled their defamation lawsuit with Dominion and agreed to pay them $787.5 million. Now, you would think that everyone at Fox News had gotten the memo to stop spreading misinformation, especially about President Biden and his son Hunter Biden, a private citizen, but no. One of those people was Maria Bartiromo, who had Comr on multiple times to help promote his lie.
Well, is this treason?
It's very concerning.
Well, as you know, Maria, Senator Grassley and I have reviewed a legally protected and highly credible whistleblower document, which alleges that there was an exchange of money for policy decisions made by then Vice President Joe Biden.
Congressman, what's Plan B?
Well, stay tuned, Maria. You'll be the first person that'll know, I can assure you. But the media knows that. But they're just not covering it. Then you have the liberal media like MSNBC with their low IQ audience that are sitting there, and they're being told bad things about me and members of the Oversight Committee because we have the audacity to investigate.
Based on what you know today, Congressman, should Joe Biden be impeached?
I think he should, but that's going to be left up to the Speaker.
Do you feel you have the evidence right now to prove to the American people that President Biden committed a crime?
I think so.
We know there was a major cover-up of COVID, and we know that they've been stealing intellectual property for decades. Are any of these things reasons that Joe Biden allowed and he got paid for them?
It certainly looks that it could be that way, Maria.
At this point, you'd think that Comr would just get tired of lying. And speaking of tired, what a better way to lie down and rest than with today's sponsor, Miracle Made. Did you know that your temperature at night can have one of the greatest impacts on your sleep quality? If you ever wake up too hot or too cold, then I highly recommend you check out Miracle Made's bed sheets. Inspired by NASA, Miracle Made uses silver-infused fabrics and makes temperature-regulating bedding so that you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermo-regulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with a silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle Sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands, and they feel as nice, if not nicer, than bed sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing outbreaks and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/Gabe to try Miracle Sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo Gabe at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Gabe and use the code GABE to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Gabe to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. If there's one thing that we can count on Comr for, it's the fact that he will one-up any previous dumb or humiliating moment. I mean, who could forget the time that Comr told Bartiromo that their star informant was missing?
You have spoken with whistleblowers. You also spoke with an informant who gave you all of this information. Where is that informant today? Where are these whistleblowers?
Well, unfortunately, we can't track down the informant. We're hopeful that the informant is still there. The whistleblower knows the informant. The whistleblower is very credible. And all we're asking the FBI with respect to the Form 1023 is, what did you do to investigate this allegation? And they send us back a very patronizing letter basically saying, just trust us and don't worry about it.
Hold on a second, Congressman. Did you just say that the whistleblower or the informant is now missing?
Well, we're hopeful that we can find the informant. Now, remember, these informants are kind of in the spy business.
Spy business is the best lie that he could come up with? They can't even keep track of an adult. Please, everyone, for the love of God, do not trust these people with babysitting your children. I mean, aside from the fact that they will indoctrinate them with bigoted religious gun fetishes, they will also just flat out lose them. But I think the lesson to be learned here is before leaving any space, you should always remember this mantra: phone, wallet, keys, informant. Oh, and one of their informants was Gal Luft, a guy charged with being an agent of China as well as trafficking weapons and Iranian oil.
I mean, what a stand-up guy, you know.
Now keep in mind, Comr wanted to claim that he was missing as to imply that something nefarious had befallen Luft. However, Luft was missing because he was on the run from authorities. But I don't know which is funnier, Comr losing his informants or telling Sean Hannity that he hasn't seen or spoken to another informant in 3 years.
As an insurance policy.
This oligarch is a was a high-ranking member or owner of Burisma?
Yes, that is exactly right. So
have you had any
that
contact with him?
Unfortunately, nobody's had any contact with him for the last 3 years. You know, the MSNBC makes fun of me.
Now, I don't know which missing informant that was, but their informant Alexander Smirnov, whose allegations were at the heart of the GOP's case against President Biden, has turned out to be a fake. Their smoking gun star witness has been indicted for lying to the FBI about the president and his son Hunter Biden for political reasons.
Awkward. Documented allegations of bribery from a trusted FBI confidential human source has now finally been released. Now, its contents are devastating.
Okay, I am sparing you the amount of Sean Hannity I could play you. For my sins, I watched about 30 minutes of monologues. But in his show, Fox host Sean Hannity alone promoted the claim of this single FBI informant no less than 85 times last year. 28 of those segments were monologues, very long monologues, in addition to all the breathless so-called reporting. And this is across the right-wing media. Hannity had House Oversight Committee chairman and chief Biden crime family investigator James Comr on as a guest 43 times in 2023. Today, James Comr and Sean Hannity's favorite informant, the smoking gun for their investigation, was arrested at Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. He was indicted on 2 counts of feeding the FBI false information about President Joe Biden and his son Hunter. According to that indictment, 43-year-old Alexander Smirnov's story about Burisma officials paying the Bidens millions, quote, was a fabrication, an amalgam of otherwise unremarkable business meetings and context.
There's nothing credible about anything that Comr says. There's no evidence then, and there's no evidence now.
It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is?
Fugazi. It's a fake.
Yeah, fugazi. It's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist.
And remember earlier when I said that not everyone at Fox News had gotten the memo about spreading misinformation even after the Dominion lawsuit? Yeah, well, don't be surprised if Sean Hannity, Maria Bartiromo, Jesse Waters, and every other Fox News host that platformed Comer's lies without vetting them will be listed on a lawsuit from Hunter Biden. Because if I were Hunter, I'd sue the shit out of them.
These guys are so
Well, that's all for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and feel free to follow me at I am Gabe Sanchez. If you love what I do and would like to support me further, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. It's a great way to not only support independent media, but also get early access to episodes, bonus content, and exclusive merch. To subscribe, go to patreon.com/IamGabeSanchez. Thank you for your support. So until next episode, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?